Hey folks, Twisted Christian. Today, I'm doing one of the follow-up videos that I said I was going to do concerning Currency 365, Johnny, his video about that prophetic dream about the dinar. The dream was called, I couldn't exchange after the dinar RV. And there's one aspect of this particular dream that I'm going to deal with from a Clement Prophecy back from 2014. And I need everybody to listen because I'm laying the groundwork for the next video concerning the prophetic dream dealing with that, because there are a lot of different points that I'm going to make in that, but I'm making this part separate. So not just people who own dinar, but people who are in private groups and people who run private groups and that are telling people that they're going to get a better rate than just going into the bank. So this is a message for them too as well, because there's a lot of people that I don't want to see deceived. I want to see everybody prosper with the Iraqi dinar. Unfortunately, everybody won't pay attention and everybody won't listen. So I'm going to go ahead and play this prophetic word. I believe what Kim Clement is talking about are these private groups and individuals that are asking people to send them their dinars.
There's a great code breakers. Now, if you don't know what code breakers is, code breakers really reveals what code maker brought about. In other words, prophecies come, we don't understand it. Today I want to just share for a few minutes on the dinar. While you're giving, because some of you have invested and the Spirit spoke to me and said there's great. And later on in the code breakers we're going to reveal more. There's great deception. Many have been lied to. Many are out there that are calling themselves brokers but taking advantage of your innocence in many of your lives. Hold on to everything because there's a sign.
All right, so this is the prophetic word that was given out on May 17th, 2014. All right, so he talks about a great deception and that there are people calling themselves brokers and they're not, and they're taking advantage of people. And he also says to hold on to everything that you have. So he's telling you to make sure that you hold on to your investment and not anybody else. And I believe that this prophetic dream that Johnny talked about deals with this. And there's going to be, in the week leading up to all this, there's going to be a lot of people trying to put out these 800 numbers and try to get you to send their dinars or pick your dinars up from you. They might even go as far as setting up fake websites, or maybe even go as far as setting up a fake dinar RV redemption center. Now let me share with you folks, anybody who asks for your dinars and they are telling you to send them off and they're telling you they can get a better rate than the banks, that person is operating as a broker illegally. That's just like if I tell you guys, send me all your dinars and I'm going to go to the bank or I'm going to go through some other means to get you a higher rate. Right? That means I'm operating as a broker, but I'm not licensed, so that is illegal. This article comes back out from 2018. I think this case took some years to actually get to this point to where they were actually convicted. Atlanta men convicted of fraud in $600 million currency exchange case. And if you guys remember, the sterling currency exchange, and it was at the time, it was one of the largest ones in the United States at that time. Right. These convictions resulted from years of investigation, which included dozens of electronic and physical search warrants, hundreds of witness interviews, and extensive financial analysis. For those of you who are acting like brokers, I want you to hear that. This was a licensed broker that did this. So can you imagine what the unlicensed brokers are doing? Because they're not being watched, at least not yet. And after this video and the next video, if people are not getting their dinars back, they're going to start being watched, right? And they said at other times, Ram and Bell falsely claimed that sterling would cash out investors at airports around the country following a dinar revaluation. I remember that. The defendants also paid substantial sums of money to third parties who in turn spread false information about the dinar on conference calls and internet chat rooms. And where did they go to do this? On conference calls and internet chat rooms. So there are people in there right now that are planning to deceive you and take all their dinars. Instead of them just going out and working and getting their own dinars, they are working hard to take yours. Absolutely insane. So I'm going to ask this of people who are dinar investors in the dinar community, and I know some of you do, that if you have any dinars with a private group or individual that is claiming that they can go to the bank and get you a better rate, you need to ask for your dinars back. Now remember, folks, a lot of these people had you sign non-disclosure agreements. You remember that? That was pretty big back in early on, right? So they were trying to protect themselves from being sued and pursued by you. Y'all not getting that. So I'm asking all the people who have any dinar with any private group to ask for it back. All you have to do is send a message or give a phone call, an email, and say, you know what? I want my dinars back. I'll pay the shipping to get my dinars back. And if they don't comply with that after a certain amount of time, just like these other people, what do? They call the FBI. And if enough people call on these folks, right, then they'll start to be investigated. So let's do that now and get that out the way instead of waiting for RV Day for the FBI to do something. And then after that, you need to leave the private groups. You need to leave the chat rooms that are pumping this stuff out, especially the 800 numbers and redemption centers, because that is a big deception. And I'm going to say this, if you are operating illegally as a broker, which means you are asking people to send your dinars, I'm asking that you send those dinars back to those people who sent the dinars in to you. Because technically, you are operating illegally as a broker or some type of financial advisor because you belong to a private group, and the people who lead these groups are saying that we're going to be able to go to the bank and get you a better rate than the bank. And if you do not want the wrath of the government or even individuals, because when that time comes, you're expecting this person to take hundreds of millions of dinars, because they've been collecting dinars from everybody, go to the bank and exchange them, and then disperse it back to you and everybody else. That makes no sense. So I'm going to ask you before things get really bad to send those dinars back to those people, because you are operating illegally. You're not registered to take in people's dinars and go to the bank. Now I'm going to speak to anybody who's running a dinar RV or dinar news website. If you continue to put out this information with your updates with 1-800 numbers and redemption centers, right, especially during the week of, and somebody puts out an 800 number and you promote it, you could be held liable if somebody gets scammed, because they will be able to go to the FBI and say, well, I went to this particular news website, they said there was this 800 number, I called the 1-800 number, and when I called the 1-800 number, they asked me to send them their dinars, and I sent them my dinars. The first people that they're going to go to is these news sites that are making these releases. If there are people out there that are truly trying to scam all these people, these news websites, they're going to look at you first to see if you were actually a part of it, right? They don't know if who's paying who to do what. You'll be one of the first ones that will get a knock on the door. Or maybe not even a knock on the door. They might kick the door down with a warrant. And you're like, all I do is just put out news. So I'm telling you, for now, don't even put out information concerning 1-800 numbers, because that's all fake, or redemption centers, prosperity packages. Don't put out any information concerning that, because then you could be a target not only by the government, but also individuals, because people are going to be looking for somebody to blame, because they're first going to try to go after the person who has their dinars. And the second person they're going to look at is going to be the people that are putting out these news statements with these 1-800 numbers and redemption centers. I'd even go back through and start deleting some of the old ones, because you do not want to be held liable and get caught up in something that you didn't intend to. So in my next video, folks, I'm going to do an update on the prophetic dream concerning I couldn't exchange after the Dinar RV. I have some additional points that I'm going to make about that video. Some people have already picked it up, but I have other points that I'm going to make that I think that's going to help us not only not to be scammed, but also points to maybe a rate. So that's all I have for this video, folks. Wait for the next one and check that one out. I thank you guys for listening. God bless. TC out.